Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Deborah, aka the Sunset Girl Creates, and today is Tuesday. Come cross stitch with me. And it is 8 o'clock in the morning. This is my third time doing this video because somehow I ended up on time lapse, and so it was taking my video and making my video from 30 minutes to 3.5 hours. So we want to make sure that I redid this one. I am on record now. I can see my timer and it's on the fabric nicely. We will be working with Christmas Village ornaments from Dimensions. I am sorry about the glare from my ring light. It is an aught light. There we go. That's a little bit better. I need it when I'm looking at the fabric because I need the really good sunlight. But we're currently working on the hatching of the wood of the roof. I don't know if we'll finish our X's. We may just go down here and finish this, and then I'll come back and finish all my X's. And then we have a little bit down here in the stairs for the ends, and that's it. After that, we'll move on to the next color to finish up all the cross hatching and the roof. And once the roof's done, we'll then get started and have fun doing the bricks on the house. And then I'm trying to get all the dark colors done first because darker colors are harder to do on the smaller fabric. So I want to get the dark done and then I can move on to the light, because as you can see, the lights are much easier to see what you're doing and where your lines need to go. But if you look at the dark and they're all bunched up like that, it can kind of be hard to see. So because of that reason, I need to find my magnifier or a magnifier so that I can see, because I'm having a hard time seeing these stitches. This is one of the reasons that I kind of quit doing cross stitch for a while, because it's really hard to do cross stitch when you don't have magnification. I've got to bring the light back around so that we can see, and grab my thread and my needle, and here we go. So I'm just trying to make sure of where I'm at. So I've gone all the way down 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4. Okay, I'm on the 5th one. And 1 2 3 4 5, right? Yes, and then there's 2, skip 1 1. Okay, I just needed to reorient myself to where I was on the pattern, so I make sure that I don't miscount. When you have counted cross stitch, if you miscount, pull out. Do not leave it in. It will not show up. It will be noticeable. People will notice that you made that mistake. So instead of having a mistake shown, I would prefer to pull it out and to redo it. Even though people may not see it, the count has to be right, or it just throws the whole pattern off. Okay, so don't mess with your count. Make sure you stay stable with what you're doing and you're not losing your count, okay? Because that's important. Your count is what keeps you going, right? If you don't count, you won't do it right. Counted cross stitch. That's why it's called counted cross stitch. Okay. Now we're going to put this one in. We're going to skip 2, and then we have 1 just on the other side over here. I only went to the bottom here on this one because I needed to come in where I went out last time. So going downward, sometimes you have to change the direction of where you put the placement of your stitch. Okay, it's not the direction. I'm just placing my stitch in a different orientation is all that was. Okay, and we did that one. So now we've got 2 over this way, right? And wait a minute, where's my count? Where am I? Okay, I did those 2. And then I have 2, skip 1, 2. So they're going to go down under here, start here. Right? Yes. Okay. Just needed to make sure that I was counting correctly. And I'm going to put 1 here. No, I put 2 here. 2, skip 1, 2. Okay. So really it's all about keeping track of your counting, right? I'm moving my needle minder over. That's just the little needle minder I have. I don't know if you can see it. I just move it around when I need to. It's a little ice cream cone, ice cream with a heart as the top. And so I just keep it over there. I always have a spare needle attached to it because I want to make sure that I don't lose my needles, right? So now we're going to go down here, drop 1 here. So we have 5 tips for choosing your first cross-stitch supplies coming up. Isn't that going to be fun? I'm excited. And this is going to tell me, this is going to tell me if my count's right when I get these 2 done, because then there's got to be a certain amount of stitches between these stitches and these ones. So let's put this, because that's where I was afraid my count might be off. And if my count's off, I will pull it out and redo it and figure out where my count went wrong. So it may take time to get this one done if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think it's fine. Because then that leaves 1, 2, 3 stitches. Perfect. See, and that's when you find out if your count's right. Okay, and either your count's right or your count's wrong. But I need to have 3 stitches between this stitch and then the other end. So from here to here, I needed 3 stitches, which is perfect what I have. And then I just have 1 here. And what we're doing is this is just the first section of the roof. There is another color with it, so we'll be filling in with the next color. I don't know if it's a darker or a lighter gray. I believe it may be the darker gray. So we'll see what comes about, and that's the wrong one. So now I came in this hole, so I'm just going to push it back in the same hole. And what's it going to do is it's just going to bring my floss back to the position it needs to be, because I needed to skip 2 and not 1. So I needed to have my stitch here instead. Yes, so it's underneath that one. Correct. Okay. See, and so your count is really, really important. If you don't have your count right, then nothing else is going to work when you come back together to do it, right? Because when you come back, your next color, you're going to fill in around that. And that's going to show you if your count's right as well. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of this fill in when we go to the next one. We do have a wreath that goes right here, so that's going to be green. So that's why that's open. And then we have a window that sits right there. So that's why we don't have it. I did do this window first just because it was right next to it. And then I decided to go on to this darker gray to get it done before I finished the light. And so we are at about 9 minutes. I was going to read this. We'll read a little bit and then work a little bit and then read a little bit and work a little bit. How about that? That way I get some work done and you get to hear articles and you get to hear me tell about a little bit more stuff on cross stitch as we go. So gathering cross stitch supplies for your first project can be overwhelming. There are so many supplies and products to choose from. In the beginning, many cross stitchers start with pre-made kits. Even though a kit may have many of the things that a beginner needs, it is good to have supplies ready to go in a basket in case you need something. While kits are great, you might want to try your hand at an independent pattern. Below are 5 tips that will help you choose the right products for your project. So you always need to make sure that if some of these are for project based, right? Where you buy the pattern and then you get your own Ada and then you choose your own floss, right? And it's not pre-done for you, okay? Like a kit like this, everything comes pre-done for me. It's all separated. I have enough floss for everything. The floss are pre-cut in specific lengths. I pull it out, I fold it in half, and I work with it. They say to cut it in half, but I don't do that. My flosses don't seem to have too much trouble. They are DMC, however, they are specially dyed, so I can't just go get a DMC color. These are specially dyed for this project. That's why it's a gold collection. All the gold collections have specially dyed floss. But when it comes to getting a pattern like the hot air balloon pattern that we were doing, I got that pattern, remember? And then after I got the pattern, I went out and bought the floss. Okay, so I went out and bought me some floss. I bought all the floss I needed for it. And I knew I had two cross-stitch patterns that I planned to make. So I went ahead and bought all the floss for both projects. So now I don't need to worry about going out and getting floss for the next couple projects that we work on. We will, once these are done, we will then move on to finishing our hot air balloon, our first one, and then we'll finish the second one. We'll finish Balloon Fantasy. So you will see that come back out after the holiday. And, okay, so we got two there. Right? One, then I have two. Skip one, two. Okay. Skip one, and then we're going to do two more. Okay? So, choose a light colored 14 count cross stitch specific fabric. So it doesn't have to be Ada, okay, but it has to be some kind of 14 count. You usually want light colored, but you can really look at the picture that you've chosen, and that really determine what color fabric you want. Some have really light colors that look great on a dark background, and some are dark colors look much better on a lighter background. So just be careful when you're choosing your Ada based on you got to really do it based on your, the pattern you have in mind, I would recommend. So since you're still developing your cross-stitch skills, it is best to stay away from dark colors. Many experienced cross-stitchers have difficulty with them. Choosing rolled Ada fabric instead of fabric that is folded flat, which may have developed difficult to remove creases. 14 count is a common size fabric. It is used for many projects. Make sure your pattern you purchase is using 14 count. Once you become more skilled, you can adjust the pattern to fit any fabric. So, if you have a project that's 14 count, but you want it a little bit smaller, you want to get a higher count Ada or fabric, okay? So like if it's a 14 count pattern and it's 8 by 10, but you only want 5 by 7, go to a smaller canvas, meaning more stitches per inch, right? So go to an 18 or a 20 Ada. This is an 18, which gets 4 extra stitches per inch, okay? So that's a lot of extra stitches to do for an inch, okay? If you choose to start, okay, wait a minute, okay, yeah. It's choose floss based on the quality, need, and availability, okay? So floss packets are good first choice because they contain a selection of commonly used colors. If you choose to start building your floss collection by purchasing individual skeins, stick to one brand. Conversion charts are available. Mixing subtle shades from different brands' floss may not produce the best results. So if you decide to use a type of floss, stick with it. If you get a different floss, make sure that you're storing those flosses separately in separate storage containers, and make sure you label them very clearly to make sure that one says DMC floss, one says anchor floss, or whatever floss it is. Make sure, because you don't want to mix those up. If you want to use Anchor for a project, then only use Anchor. If you want to use DMC for that project, only use DMC is what they're saying. Okay? Again, having more floss is better than coming up short. You can always use the leftovers for another project. Always just buy a skein. I don't know. Do I have any skeins here? I think I may have one skein sitting here. Maybe. Maybe not. Nope, I don't think so. Okay, I'm trying not to hit the cord, which is making it move. And sorry, let's not move the camera too much more, okay? DMC and Anchor are great flosses to start your cross-stitch projects with, and they offer variety packs of the most common popular colors. Make sure that you're on the lookout for floss sales at your local needlework store. Stock up on common colors such as black, white, and reds. If you use a non-color fast floss, be careful when washing the finished project, as dye may run. So DMC and Anchor are color fast floss, which means the dye has been washed out of it, and if you wash it, the dye is not going to get all over your fabric, okay? So just be careful, okay? Then a pack of needles is necessary. So what kind of needles do you think we might need if we're cross-stitching? Does it matter what size needle you have? Does it matter what size eye that has? Does it matter how thick that needle is? It does. So I've got two needles here. Let's look at these two needles. One with my floss on and one with my floss without. Let me just pop my floss behind, and then we can see the two needles. Let me just get them so that you can actually see both eyes and see how long they are. So I'm going to put this here and see if you can see it. So if you look, you can see the eye on that is very short. It comes down. But if you look at this one, you can see the eye is much longer and much bigger. So when you pull that bigger needle through your fabric, it's going to make the hole that's already in your fabric even bigger. Okay? The smaller ones are going to make a little bit of a hole. See, you can kind of see it just a little bit where something went in. But it's not a massive hole, right? If I put this in, I can put it in here, but I'm not going to put my eye. And that just made my hole just a little bit larger. All I do is kind of rub it with my nail. It kind of brings the fabric back together, and you won't see that hole so bad, okay? So you can still see it a little bit on camera. It's right there. But it's better, okay? So needles are different. And you have to make sure that when you're buying packs of needles, that you're buying cross-stitch or embroidery needles instead of needlepoint needles or other needles, right? Because there's multiple kinds of needles out there, right? Right. So now we are getting ready to work on our last row in between. So we will have one right here. Is that it? Yes, in between those and in between the other two, right? Or on the other side of the other two. Okay, so one goes here. You just want to make sure your count's right. It's really important that you don't mess up your count. If you do, like I said, pull it out. Okay, so this is going to be the last of the end color in the roof. So we're going to go back, and I am going to attempt to do all the cross stitches on them now. Because they're farther apart and they're not like that close, I'm hoping that we'll be able to make sure that we're getting it in right. So we're just going to get started on some of these crosses here and do our cross stitches. And here we go. So that's all we're trying to do, right? Is just cross our X's. We did one leg of the X, and now we're coming back to do the second leg of the X. And you can see some of these aren't finished. That's because I need to really be able to get in there and see what I'm doing. It's very small stitches on a very small fabric. It's 18 count is what this is. So 18 versus 14. So that makes the stitches you've got in the inch, you've got 14 more going this direction, 4 more going this horizontal, and then 4 more going vertical. So it really makes sure you don't think that it makes a difference, but it really does make a difference in size. I've already moved my project that I pulled off here into the office. It can still go on to my Q-snap, and I might put it on the Q-snap eventually so that it is available. But once these are done, it'll go back on to this lap stand, and we will continue working. The only reason is holidays are coming, and everything holiday needs to be done. So I need to be working on these holiday ornaments. I need to make sure that everything I'm doing for Christmas is done. We have, I think, 2 or 3 more projects for Halloween to finish on the silhouette, on the Wednesday Come Silhouette with Me. And those are all pre-cut and ready to go. I'm actually going to go in this afternoon and set everything up so we're ready to video in the morning, because I have to do this video early. This is the 3rd take on this one, so this one won't be available right at 9 o'clock. I just hit the camera pulling my stitch. I'm really sorry if it's kind of making you dizzy. I'm trying to keep the camera steady as I go so that you can continue seeing what I do as we continue to talk. So you need a pack of needles is necessary. Obviously you can't stitch without a needle. There are so many different types of needles on the market. Needles with special coating, twin tipped needles, there's gold needles, easy thread needles. It is hard to decide which one is the right one for your project. When you begin cross-stitching, it is wise to use a 24 tapestry needle for 11 count Aida fabric and the size 26 for the 14 count Aida. Okay, so I think I have a 26. The 26 is the one that I'm using for my hot air balloon. This one, I'm using the one that came with the kit. So what comes in the kit? Okay, so what comes in a regular pre-made kit? One that you can go to the store and buy off the shelf, right? You can go buy kits off the shelf, right? And all you have to do is pick it up, bring it home, and then you have to set up your setup, right? So what came in my kit? My kit came with 2 different needles. One for the cross stitching, which is the one I'm using, and then there's another one for another stitch that's coming up. So the kit came with that. It also came with all of the thread that I needed pre-sorted, and I still have everything on the thread. I don't throw anything from my pack away until I've completed my project. I can always use that to go back and make sure that my color is correct, make sure I didn't miss anything. You never know what you may need to go back and use something that came in the kit. All it is 2 strips that have the colors on it that it came with, right? Probably don't need it, but I'm going to hold on to it because it's better to have it than not to have it, okay? So that's why I keep everything. So then it came with 2 needles. It came with my Aida, and it came with the floss. Okay? And that's what you need. Doesn't come with a hook or a hoop or a stand or anything like that. You do have to buy that separately. Does not come with scissors. So like we see the diamond painting kits, and when you get a diamond painting kit, you don't need anything else to diamond paint. You can take that kit the way it comes and sit down and diamond paint, and it's not going to make a difference, right? I think I crossed one of those by accident. Here we go. And I have to see what that one is up there. I think it's across. It's crossed already. Is this one? No, this one is not. I'm just making sure. I think that one's already crossed, so I don't need to worry about that one. I believe this one is not, so we're going to cross it. And that's why the magnifying glass is good when you're doing a smaller count, Ada. I'm actually having 3 videos, getting a lot more done this morning than I planned to get done on this. I didn't think on the video I would be doing this much work. But doing 3 videos, it does take up some time. So let's go back and continue reading our article. So a pack of needles is necessary. Obviously, you can't stitch without a needle, obviously. There are so many different types, and we went over the types. As you become an accomplished cross-stitcher, you can try out the many different types of needles and see the way the needle pulls the fabric and showcases different finishes. You may not think that a good needle is necessary. It helps keep the fabric in shape. A bigger needle with smaller fabric will stretch and distort your project. It is very important to keep the fabric in shape, and the right cross-stitch needle will help with that, okay? You need 2 pairs of scissors, okay? Hoops, okay, wait a minute, my iPad scrolled up on me. The first pair is dedicated to cutting fabric. So I have 1 pair of scissors that are only used for cutting fabric. Nothing else gets touched. If anybody touches those scissors and tries to cut something else, I've literally almost snapped my husband's arm off because he grabbed those scissors once. It's not my thing. I don't like anybody touching my fabric scissors. They're not cheap, and I don't want to replace them. They are fiskars, and very expensive. So, with, do not cut anything but fabric with these scissors. You can get a pair for less than $20. You can. And there's other ones that are a lot more expensive. The second pair is a smaller pair for cutting floss. These scissors should be sharp enough to cut the floss without fraying it. Dollar and discount stores are a great source of inexpensive sharp scissors. After you become more familiar with cross-stitch patterns, you can invest in a high-end pair of scissors. Okay, so I don't have a pair of high-end scissors here that I use on this kit. I got this, they were like $6 or $7 at Hobby Lobby's where I got these. So they're just hot pink flamenco. And then they have the small tips on them. These are very sharp. And these are only used for floss. I have other high-end, I do have high-end scissors though, I have to say. I like to have high-end stuff. I like to have the better quality crafting supplies. Now, what I mean by better quality, okay? I'm going to tell you, for cheap scissors, these are probably the best scissors I've ever had. Okay? These are the best scissors that I've ever had. They're great scissors, okay? And I have really expensive scissors. I don't buy just standard scissors anymore. I buy the fancy ones. So if I see cute scissors, I'm going to buy them. I have so many kinds of scissors around. If I were to go through and pull out all of my scissors, my husband would have a heart attack. Because I have many. They're all in different kits around. I have them in my knitting kits that are kitted up. I have them inside my crochet kit down below. So I have plenty of plenty of scissors. I don't have to go buy any more scissors ever, probably. Will I buy more scissors? Most likely. I have a pair of Eiffel Tower scissors. I use these for kitting up diamond paintings. But they're Eiffel Tower. I got them at Stitches in San Jose. See, it's the Paris Eiffel Tower as scissors. And they're just regular plain scissors, so I use them. They're small. Small enough, though, I can put in my kits and use them for... And they basically cut stickers and paper and stuff like that. So when I'm kitting up my diamond paintings, I have a dedicated pair of scissors for that. I really like to have dedicated scissors for different types of things. I don't want to lose the sharpness on any of my scissors because I cut different things with them. Now I have multi-use scissors that I use to cut paper, and I use to trim different things. I have a trimmer. I have it all, right? And you can have it all, but there's always something you don't have. It's what I always find out, right? It's really sad when I find out I should have had all that stuff, and guess what? Didn't get it. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles, really, right? So our next and last part is start with a plastic hoop or Q snap. Sorry, it's not a plastic Q. Okay. Hoops come in a wide variety of sizes depending on your project. Start with a medium to large hoop will help you get a feel for how your hand will react to holding a hoop. My hands cramp when I hold hoops now. It's therefore the reason for the standing stand. Basically, it's a lap stand that sits in my lap. I don't have to hold it. I can if I want to, but I don't have to, okay? So I just continue, I can just continue cross-stitching as I go, right? Because I know now what I'm trying to accomplish, right? So, many cross-stitchers begin with Q-snaps. They are square frame fabric holder. Their wide frame is beneficial in limiting hand cramping. And I still had a little bit with it, but the Q-snap was much better because it at least was a bigger thing to hold on versus the hoops are so small. The only downfall to Q-snaps is they do not come in a wide range in sizes as hoops do. Plastic hoops offer more security to the fabric than a wood hoop does, so save the wood hoops for framing. Okay, wood hoops really don't work very well. They aren't. They're not very good at all. So that's about all I have for today. We are at 33 minutes. I know that the cross-stitching is usually a little shorter than the diamond painting are, but as time goes by, I think that will kind of adjust itself, and we'll find more stuff to talk about as I'm going through here, and we'll make sure that everything is correct, okay? So we will get, oh, that's not in the right place at all. That needs to come back out. Let me just, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take that off the needle for now. I'll redo it in a second. So with this said, I want to thank you all for coming. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions or comments or concerns. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, a thumbs down is fine, but please let us know in the comments below. Also, if you want to be part of the Sunset Girl Creates family, that we would love to have you come join us. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button down below. Once you're done with that, you then can hit the bell next to that icon, and it will let you know every time I upload a video. So have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me for Tuesday Come Cross Stitch with me, and happy stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.